What's up, guys? On today's episode of Bourbon Budz, we're doing one of our famous blind tastings. So the fun part about it is we have no idea what any of this is. We're going to taste it, smell it, we're going to judge them, and we're going to rank them based on what we think, not knowing what it is, how much it costs, or where it comes from.
So looking at these pours from 1 to 3. 1 is light in color. It's like a caramel color. 2 is a little lighter. And 3 is darker.
Yeah, so judging based on the looks alone, I'm going to say that 1 is probably somewhere in the 5-6 year average range. 2 looks like it's probably a very young bourbon or a whiskey. And 3 looks like it's closer to the 8 to 10 year, maybe a little older. It's definitely got a lot of color. But we're not going to waste any of your time. Before we do get started, though, we are going to give a huge shout out to our friend, Miss Tammy Waits with T3 Treasures and Gifts. Thank you so much for sponsoring our show. She makes incredible etched and engraved items. She provided us with these Glencairn glasses as well as these engraved coasters. They are beautiful. Guys, make sure you check her out. She does phenomenal work. So here goes nothing. We're going to start with glass 1. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
It's got a very interesting smell.
It's real sweet to me. Sweet smell.
So recently we did a review and it smelled real sweet and it didn't taste real sweet.
Right.
So it doesn't tell us much, but
kind of caramel, vanilla smell. It's real subtle.
I definitely get it. It's kind of a cherry. I get like a cherry smell on the nose.
I get a little hint of cherry.
Nothing overwhelming, but definitely a little cherry. Definitely a sweet smell. No, not really hot.
Sweet, not hot. Smells good.
Yep.
Smells like something I'm going to like.
Yeah. Let's see.
There it goes.
That's really good. Doesn't quite follow through with the sweet as much. It's not as sweet on the palate.
I'm trying to think. It tastes familiar to me. It tastes very familiar to me.
It does taste familiar. I can't put my finger on it. I don't even want to assume what it could be. No. I will say it's got a very oaky flavor on the palate. It is, the sweetness kind of goes away from the nose and I get more of a natural, more of an earthy taste. Definitely a very smooth pour, not hot. Very, very little ethanol on the front end. Very tasty. But I'm going to save some for the next run.
Yep.
Get a little cleansing. All right. Number 2 in the James Beam glass. What they call a dram glass. Cheers.
Cheers.
You know, picking it up off the table, it's definitely got a little more body to it now. It's not it's not as light as it looked on the run.
Yeah, it looked light. It smells like a little heat. Like it got a little heat. I get it's like a sweet heat.
Ooh, it's got a little bite.
So it's heat.
It's not overwhelming. I mean, it might be a little rough for you, but it's definitely got a little bite on the front end. It's not harsh.
So maybe a long shot, but to me this almost tastes like a rye.
It could very well be.
You know, I get a rye.
So I don't get the sweet on the palate.
palate.
I get the natural kind of it's not hot. It's not spicy. It's to a point where you can't take it. It's more of the spice overwhelms the sweet. So there's very little sweet in it. So I'm with John. I think it's either a rye or it is a high rye bourbon. That's really good though. But look, we're not gonna dwell on it. We got to be able to come back and hit the 3 again. So. All right, pour number 3.
Cheers.
Cheers. This looks very dark. Oh, and
oh my God. That smells amazing. Right off the bat, I smell straight caramel. It smells straight caramel. It smells so good. It smells like a Werther's original.
I haven't even tasted it, and I got a guess on what this is already. Yep. Wow.
That's good. It's got some heat.
You see, I don't find it to be hot.
It's got some heat to me.
That is tasty.
It was like a subtle punch of heat right on the, as soon as I sipped it, and then I was like, wow, this is great.
So this has that full body, robust taste. I'm going to just throw this out there. I believe this is Weller Antique 107.
But see, I can't guess that because I've never had that.
I've only tasted it once. This, it's definitely aged. It's got some, you can taste the barrel. It's got a natural oaky taste. It's not overwhelmingly sweet, but it's still sweet. You still get a little caramel, maybe a little vanilla in it.
So
What it's lacking is the fruit. I don't get the fruit.
I don't either. So I get the caramel on the smell. Smells good. Makes you want to drink it right off top. Tasted it. I do get a charred,
Charred. I
like
definitely
a
get a
charred
charred.
flavor. I do get kind of a mixed sweet and spicy together. It's not too sweet, not too spicy. It's kind of like you said, kind of bitter a little bit, but a good flavor. It's good.
It feels
I
like a
can't
Weller
say
product.
I can't say I've ever tasted a bourbon like this.
It feels like a Weller product. The problem I have with my logic is typically Weller's a little bit sweeter. As a wheated bourbon, it's a little bit sweeter. Uh, but it just feels like a Weller product. I could be wrong.
And I'm a big fan of wheated bourbon, so this would be very surprising to me. I can't say what I think
Well,
it is.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna line them up. We want to keep them in order, so when the bottles are lined up, they're straight. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pretty much start and say that feels, as of now, that's my number one. So that's gonna stay up there as my number one. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna hit these other two again, and let's see what we got.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say this is my number one also.
I'm not sure that I'm gonna leave it there, but I'm pretty sure. That's also really good. One is good. It's not as robust. It's not as flavorful as three.
Two, two. I'm not 100%, but I'm going with two as a rye. Still,
Look, I'm sold, and I'm gonna go back and hit this again. That might be the Jack Daniel's single barrel rye.
which one? Three.
Three could be.
So I'm saying two's a rye. Three don't give me that rye taste.
They kind of all give me a slight hint of rye, to be honest with you.
All of them, even one.
Yeah, but I rather three. I'm 3-1-2. I think 3-1-2 is the order that it does it justice.
I agree. 3-1-2 is what I pick also.
I'm going back to three. Three could very well be a rye. Three could be Jack Daniel's rye. That's good. That's my pick. I feel
I agree. Only one distinct rye flavor to me is two. If the other two are ryes, they're good ryes.
all right, guys. So there you have it. We rank these bourbons from pour 3 to pour 1 to pour 2. That's our order of likings. We have no idea what this is. We've got a lot of ideas of what it could be, what kind of range it can be in, but until we reveal, we'll never know, right?
Yep. So here goes with the reveal.
Come on, Tracy. Let's go, baby. Shut the fuck up.
Wow.
Wait, that's the order we have the glasses in?
Yeah.
So Russell's came in last.
Wow.
Holy shit. All right, guys. So these bottles are laid out in the order of the glasses that we put them based on how we ranked them. So we started with the Peerless and the Glencairn. Then the Basil Hayden is in the Bourbon Budz Glencairn. And then the Russell's Reserve 10-year is in the Dram glass, the James Beam Dram glass. What I can say is, wow, because I'm a big-time Russell's Reserve fan.
And I'm a big time Basil Hayden 10-year fan. That's in my top 5.
What I can tell you is this is the second time that Peerless Toasted absolutely blew us away.
Yep.
So in previous episodes, about a couple weeks ago, we actually reviewed Peerless Toasted with our friend Rob, and this fell into right up in there as a top 5 bourbon. And it stood true. I mean, we didn't even hesitate. That bottle came out top off the bat. I am a little shocked that the Russell's Reserve was third. I do thoroughly enjoy Russell's Reserve, but what I can tell you is I'm not a huge Wild Turkey fan. So in the blind, not knowing what it is, I did get a little hint of the Wild Turkey style flavor. And I couldn't point my finger. It almost made it taste like rye to me, like it was weird.
And so being a Basil Hayden fan, which is a high rye bourbon, is why I was getting the hints of rye. What shocked me, what I thought was a rye, was the Russell Reserve 10-year.
The only one that wasn't.
The only one that wasn't a rye.
So the truth comes out is that Peerless Toasted is absolutely one of our top 5 bourbons. We've tried it a couple times. It has never ceased to amaze us. Look, at $130 price point on average,
It's worth every penny.
It's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. The Basil Hayden 10, we like the Basil Hayden 10. This is a new batch, obviously by the label. You can tell this is not the same batch as what we've had in previous years. However, it is still a really good pour. It just doesn't quite live up to the Peerless Toasted. Now, I will never knock Russell's Reserve 10. Russell's 10 is one of my favorite pours to date. It's not a top 5 bourbon for me, but what it is an everyday drinker. To me, it's one of those, hey, I can come home from work, have a Russell's Reserve.
And so just because we rank these bourbons in this order doesn't mean that they're bad pours.
Correct.
All 3 of these pours are amazing.
That's right.
I would buy any one of these anytime I see it on the shelf.
Yeah. So there you have it, guys. Peerless Toasted comes in first, followed by Basil Hayden 10 year, followed by Russell's Reserve 10 year. For those of you guys that's been watching faithfully, we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We want to give another huge shout out to T3 Treasures and Gifts. And while we're here, I also want to give a huge shout out to my brother David Trahan with New Orleans Musician. We seem to lack on talking about our musical skills and what we do in the musical community. But the fact is, without people like you, David, we couldn't do what we do. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. You guys go check out NewOrleansMusician.com. You will not regret it. So this has been Bourbon Budz. Peerless for the win. That's the second time.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right today to free the thoughts of maybe